Welcome to Forensic Friday,
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. CrimeCon episode. Hold on to your butt. Are you ready?
You saying that to me or the listeners?
Ah!
Everyone.
My God, it's CrimeCon. No, I'm already this excited, and we are a few days out. And I'm still just like ready to roll.
It doesn't feel real to me yet. It won't feel real until we're there.
Well, you're really in that day to day with baby. I think where it's like every minute is survival.
Oh, 100%.
I am like, dude, we are not working. We are out of office.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to every session, 2 of the 3 events. I'm going to meet Ice-T, over the shoulder selfie with Nancy Grace.
Aren't we all meeting Ice-T?
I'm going to make sure it happens.
Oh, well, yeah.
I might get arrested, but I'm going to make sure. I love him. I really want to meet
I'm gonna go try to say hi to Nancy Grace. I know you don't love her, but I think she's great.
She's great. She just scares me a little.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing.
But that's the point.
You and her have similar personalities.
You're actually probably not wrong. We'd either be best friends or it would not go well.
I agree with this. This is probably why you're like, I don't know about her, because you guys have same energy.
Hey, not the same. We are not the same. We are big energies, though. You're not wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Not the same. You have the same energy.
Garrett, cut this out. But women can't have big energy, can they? I think they can.
Yes, they can.
Okay, well, we both do.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Nancy Grace's story?
No.
Her husband was murdered, and that's what got her into true crime.
What I love about her is she will not quit. I love this, and I also love her accent.
Here's the thing. You and her are cut from the same cloth.
Okay, you know what? I will stand in line with you. Okay. I'm going to shake her hand, and I'm going to say, I hear we're similar. Can we be friends? And then I'm going to give her a hot pink allegedly hat and see if she'll put it on.
I thought you were going to say something else.
What did you think I was going to say? I'm going to give her a what?
Like a hug. I was like, please don't.
I don't know that either of us are. I mean, I am very sweet. I'm not necessarily a hug first thing person.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, people think I am, which creates a lot of discomfort for me. Because people go in. They go in for that hug all the time.
Yeah.
So this is huge. This is our CrimeCon episode.
Yeah. Oh. I also have some updates, not that I'm going to do right now, but I have some updates that I'm looking into, so stay tuned.
Ooh, maybe we'll do a mini later, because I want to know.
Well, if we have time.
Now you'd be curious.
I am minute with my life.
Borrowed time. I know. Okay.
She is sleeping right now. Papa got her down.
So I'm not even going to say what this case is for a minute, because we're going to do something a little different today.
Okay.
Nat and I are literal therapists.
Mm-hmm.
That's our daily job. We go in every day.
My day job.
We have our cute little offices all set up. We work with a bunch of our dear friends. It's beautiful.
Well, my new one's not set up.
Yeah, yours is still a little bit of a cluster, but we're getting there. Mine's adorable. I have the only plant I have not killed. It's 2 years old, and it's one of my babies, and I'm real proud of it.
Proud of you?
It's cute. My office is adorable.
I love it.
What's interesting about our offices is we have people with criminal histories and active cases in there all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I had a teenager got real excited one time because I put a stuffed unicorn in there. Wouldn't you know that it's the men who end up petting the unicorn?
Yeah, let's maybe not say that again.
Petting the unicorn, let's never say that again. But that is true.
But it is funny. I actually do think my male clients, somehow I ended up with one of the, what are they called? Stuffies? Not a stuffy. What are they called?
A stuffy, yeah, like a stuffed animal.
Yeah, but they're called something mellow.
Squishmallow.
Squishmallow. Guys, I'm new to the kid thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal. You'll learn more about that.
Somehow a Squishmallow ended up in my office with a coffee stain from yours truly, me, on it. But I don't know how this thing ended up in my office, but I didn't fight it. And so it's now on my couch, and my male clients, as they're talking, will sometimes reach over and grab it. And I gave one of them, not crap, but I told they like reached over and grabbed it, and they started to like pick it up, and then he like set it back down. And I was like, "You can hold on to it." And he was like, and then so
Really?
he
Okay.
jokingly grabbed it and like hugged it.
So the moms, the unicorn is weighted, and the moms hold it like a baby. I have moms in my
Oh,
office who, and they don't mean to, but they end up holding it. It's really sweet.
really
The
cute.
men pet it. It's weird. And then some people, some teenagers like braid its little mane, and then
Cute.
it's just, is it a mane on a horse or is that a lion?
No, that's a horse.
Okay, horses and lions have manes, but
Uh-huh.
they will braid the hair, and then I have a couple clients who will like push the little feet in. It's constantly in motion.
Cute.
I know it's very cute. It's become a focal point of the office.
I love
What's
this.
funny about that though is you have to picture, and maybe we'll post pictures of our offices at some point, but it's a really cute office, but then we're doing like PCL psychopathy evaluations in there, which is hysterical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're some of the only people on the front range doing those kinds of evaluations. We have some amazing colleagues up and down I-25 who do them, but there's not a ton of us,
Right.
So it's, and especially not in an environment like that. Anyway, here's how we're going to start out. We're going to picture
Okay.
our cute little offices, okay? And let's just say that the place where we work, we get a couple of new couple referrals. And you and I work with couples.
Mm-hmm.
We do couples therapy, right? I love
We
it.
do. We do.
It's a little spicy. I tend to get the loud, aggressive couples. They typically send those my way.
No, I don't get the yellers. I get the ones who like have the slow resentment and then like they hate each other when they come into my
Oh,
office.
I hate that so much. I'm
No,
surprised I get the yellers.
it's so I would rather have people who yell at each other because there's passion there.
Oh, that just sounds really pretty awful, Nat.
It's hard, but we figure it out.
Well, it's actually funny you say that because I was thinking about if they came in, who would get assigned to you, who would get assigned to me. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to say that Mike and Denise, we're going to give more information about them in a minute. Mike and Denise get referred to you.
Okay.
They're a little quieter. They're having some distance. They have different ideas about what they want. Struggling. They're struggling a little bit. Okay.
Of course you give me Mike and Denise.
Of course, you get Mike and Denise. I would probably get Brian and Kathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sassy, yelly, they scare everybody else. Those are the couples that I get. And I actually had a couple one time tell me, and they would not mind me sharing this. They listen to the podcast. Hey guys, um, they said we can only see someone who can handle us, and we will pay anything. And they were like, "That's Janine." And good luck to you. And so,
Yeah.
literally, for a while, no one could see clients on one side of my office because of how loud they were during that hour.
That's so funny.
Yes. I was then commissioned to do their vow renewal ceremony. I didn't do
Which you did not do because that would be a HIPAA
it,
violation.
it wouldn't have been great, but I did write a letter that was read at their vow renewal. So
That's cute.
miracles happen. Anyway, you get Mike and Denise. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you a little bit about Mike and Denise.
Okay.
Okay. Mike and Denise have been together since high school.
Mm-hmm.
They're the perfect couple. Just
Mm-hmm.
perfect couple.
She used air quotes, by the way.
Yeah, well, because this is how they appear. They appear
Right.
absolutely perfect, meant for each other. They have that kind of high school romance charm to them.
Well, one was a football player, one was a cheerleader.
Yeah,
Very stereotypical cutesy relationship.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Mike and Denise, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even at the same time, because they probably all drove together because they're friends.
Yeah.
Mike and Denise loved you, and they said, "Hey, Kathy and Brian, we've got the therapist for you." And the four of them are friends. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy and Brian come into my office.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's from a successful religious family. Kathy is the perfect Christian girl. And they dated for 7 years before he proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all four of these humans were friends even in high school. They've been friends forever.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, you know what? We're all going to just make our marriages better.
Yes.
Okay. And they would. It'd be like them to all ride together, honestly. They're all in the
Right.
same car. They hit up Sonic on the way. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
The couples have a little bit of interesting history together because they did this thing like a lot of repressed people do, where they had to be really good when they
Mm-hmm.
were in high school. So this meant we're trying not to have sex, although it's hard to imagine they didn't, but they're trying real hard not to have sex. They are not drinking. They're not even hardly dancing. They're really just like straight arrow people.
Yep.
Okay. That's the expectation in their community. Once they get married, and all both couples got married within the same year,
Mm-hmm.
they started kind of going out and partying a little bit, and they're having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I actually have seen this before. I don't know if you had this situation, but when I was at seminary, I made a bunch of friends. That's where I got my master's in counseling. We had some friends who'd gone to smaller schools, and they wanted to like go out all the time. We all got
Mm-hmm.
married around the same time. I was young getting married. They were young getting married. And so we were all kind of getting married and hanging out. We had this wonderful friends, but they wanted to go out all the time. Well, Garrett grew
Like
up,
drinking? Like what do you mean by
yes,
out?
yes,
Okay, okay, okay.
out.
Okay.
Drinking, all the things. And girl, I went to see Boulder, so did you.
Yep.
I was
Like
not in the mood
over
for
it.
party. I was a little bit over the crazy partying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They were not. This was brand new. And it was weird because it was almost like now that they were married and settled and they were no longer in these environments, they could go drink and they didn't do anything bad, but they just would want to go out a lot. It was like it was this new freedom. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what these four went through. They
Okay.
were just really enjoying themselves. So after a couple years of this, Kathy, my Kathy, right? Brian and
Mhm.
Kathy are in my office. Kathy was ready to kind of settle down and have kids.
Yes.
Mike in your office with Denise is ready to have kids.
Yes.
Brian and Denise, who again are not married, but
Yeah, but
friends,
Denise is my the wife to my couple.
exactly. They're kind of still enjoying having their time, okay?
Mhm.
But ultimately the couples get pregnant around the same time. In 1999, this
Mhm.
is my couple's yelling about this now, okay?
Mhm.
Brian tells Kathy to go back to bed when her water breaks, and then they have their child Stafford. Okay. So Kathy's already big mad. Kathy's been mad since the day they met. I don't know that Kathy ever had a good day in this
No.
situation.
Yep. Yep.
But
She
Kathy's
just
like,
stuck it out.
Brian literally went back to bed like a son of a bitch. Okay. She's in
Uh-huh.
my office. People on either side of me can't have sessions. It's a whole thing already.
Uh-huh.
Well, 3 months after Stafford was born, Ansley was born.
Uh-huh.
And Ansley is Denise and Mike's daughter.
Okay.
Mike is in love. Mike was in love with Stafford when he was born,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike was in love with his daughter and so happy to be a dad. Brian, not at all. Kathy, again, in my office, man, she's yelling.
She's
He
big
doesn't
mad.
help with anything. He doesn't care. All he does is hunt, blah, blah, blah. In
Mm-hmm.
your office, you might be hearing things like, I don't know why Denise still wants to go out and do stuff. I'm really happy. Why can't she just be happy?
Or I hear from Denise,
Mm-hmm.
our life has changed so much. I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost the spark.
Yes,
Stuff like
absolutely.
that. Stuff like that.
And Kathy's going, I'm never having sex with you again, you asshole, right? And that's what's happening in my office. Okay.
Hmm.
So ultimately, Mike starts to really pull away from the whole dynamic. He's pulling away from Denise and Brian and Kathy.
Yeah.
And I should mention that Mike and Kathy, again, not married, the two who were ready to have babies first, the two who are just good friends, have been friends since fifth grade.
Hmm.
Those two tended to be more on the same page.
Hmm.
Well, Mike starts really pulling out of the dynamic.
Hmm.
He's like, I'm over it. I'll stay home with the kids, right? Like he's just
Right.
not feeling it.
Yeah. He loves his new role as dad.
Yes. So Brian comes up with this trip to Panama City, and Kathy, Brian, and Denise go to Panama City.
Hmm.
And they have this trip, and something happens. and your couple's telling you about this trip, and Mike's kind of like, I don't know, everybody's acting really weird. He doesn't know what happened because he didn't go. And Denise is just quiet.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of quiet, okay? Kathy and Brian are yelling at each other. Kathy is like, it was a terrible trip. I don't know who we are anymore. Kathy's having a lot of questions about herself. And Brian's like, oh my God, it's not that serious. Okay. We're young. We're having fun. Like, get over it. You're so intense. Okay. That's the
Mm-hmm.
vibe. So, this is where we start to see some major, major, major fractures in the marriage. And I'm going to get into what happened to them from here. If you were to counsel these couples at this point, Nat,
Mm-hmm.
and you're with Mike and Denise, and this drift is happening,
Mm-hmm.
what might you do with them to help them get back on track? At this point, where
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of a rupture, there's a rupture starting to happen in both marriages. I would argue Kathy and Brian have had a rupture for a very long time.
Yeah.
But there's a rupture in the marriages. They're frustrated. They're not having fun as a foursome hanging out anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in for therapy. Last ditch kind of therapy. What might you do with Mike and Denise?
Well, I would want to obviously get their history, like start
Mm-hmm.
with rapport building, but I think the main thing would be to assess where each of them are at in their marriage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because as we already know, I wouldn't know if they just came in, but as we already know, one was more checked out than the other.
Yes.
And so I'd want to see where they're both at and where they're both, like, what is their motivation to doing therapy and why and staying together,
Yes.
essentially.
What do you suspect would happen if you did your normal Nat magic
Mm-hmm.
and you've got two quieter people
Mm-hmm.
who share a child? Mike is really sweet. He
Mm-hmm.
loves Denise. He loves their child.
Mm-hmm.
And Denise is a little bit quieter and a little more fragile of a person. So she's not yelling at him. She's quiet. They're quiet. They're one of these quiet, tough couples where
Mm-hmm.
it's a little hard to tell where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
How could you start to try to bring them back together? What would EFT, emotion focused therapy, what would you start
Right.
to explore?
Well, I would explore what's actually going on underneath. Here's the thing. I'm having a hard time answering your question because I already know what happens and I have a theory about Denise.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into it.
Okay. So if I
But
didn't
this
have
is blind.
any,
You're just
right. So if
blind.
I'm totally blind, I'm honestly trying to figure out, I don't do this in all of my sessions, but again, I'm trying to go into it blind, but I would probably try to diagnostically figure out where they're at.
Like, is there an underlying mental health?
Correct.
Yep. And then
Correct.
also, you can feel the difference between these two people. Something is
Yes.
going on.
Yes. I think I would start with trying to understand, right? With EFT, the biggest focus is what's the emotion underneath what's showing up, right? So if you look at an EFT bow tie, and I'll have to maybe show our listeners this,
Yeah.
you look at an EFT bow tie, or you can Google it. Um, at the top of the bow tie is what each party's showing. It's what they are showing each other, right? So that could be explosive behaviors, it could be dismissive behaviors, it could be passive behaviors, whatever. But that's what's showing up on top. What's underneath is all the emotion that's happening. And it's a bow tie, right? It's kind of like a figure eight, right? No one really starts or stops it. It's just a continuum. So when Denise shows up this way, it goes down to Mike's side of the bow tie, the bottom part, and triggers these emotions in him. And then it goes to the top of his part of the bow tie, and that's how he shows up. Then
Mm-hmm.
that triggers Denise. That's how she's feeling. And then it goes to the top of her part. And then that's how she's showing up. I hope that makes sense. So the goal with EFT would be to understand what's happening. So if Mike is more passive, right? I don't think Denise is passive, and I probably would have known that right up front.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna show up passive in therapy though, I think.
Well, right, right.
And withdrawn. I think you have two people who are withdrawing at
Yes,
this point.
yes. So, but I would try to figure out what are the things that are triggering each other, right? What are the emotions they're feeling underneath? Is it sadness? Is it lonely?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And help each of them have a bigger understanding of what's going on with each other.
And who is hardest to keep in the room? You know, in couples therapy, sometimes you have to recruit one to keep the other in. Like you have to recruit the one who's most likely to bolt. Who's your most likely bolter?
Oh, Denise.
Denise.
Oh, 100%. Probably because of how they're talking about each other or their kiddo
Yes.
or their
Yeah.
life, right?
Your
So
core
Mike,
values are different, and hers is not oriented towards the marriage at the moment.
hers is not family oriented at
Not
all.
family oriented. Mike's is.
Yes.
Mike's more likely to fight for the marriage than Denise, but I do think there would be room if you recruit Denise to keep them both in the room and work on the marriage.
Yep.
What percentage likelihood, if you got to them
Mm-hmm.
and the things that happen next never had happened, okay? If we were able to get prevention, which I would argue prevention in this case would be premarital counseling. I'll come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got in here, what chance do you give them, again, allegedly totally shot in the dark, of possibly getting through therapy and staying together or coming back together?
Well, if my assessment on her is correct on diagnostic criteria,
Hmm.
probably not great. But I think I could buy them some time to continue to develop a deeper understanding of each other. So I think it would increase their chances, is what I'm saying, of staying together than decreasing if they would have preventatively gone in for work.
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty high.
Yeah.
I would say like 60 to 70%. That's what I
I
would.
was thinking like 55, 60.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I hear you. There's some significant
Mm-hmm.
psychopathology in
Mm-hmm.
Denise, not psychopathy, psychopathology, meaning there are some things broken in her
Mm-hmm.
that helped set this all in motion for sure.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I think Mike's commitment and love, I think Mike probably would have loved her through getting the help she needed to give them a fighting chance. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I still think she would have been the flight risk though.
Oh, 1000% I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian and Kathy, my couple. Okay. Brian is really annoyed in the waiting room, annoyed walking up the hall. So's Kathy. Kathy's crossing her arms. She's letting him know, they're
Mm-hmm.
coming in hot. They
Mm-hmm.
sit on opposite ends of the couch. The unicorn goes flying because everyone's irritated by the pillows. I have seen this happen. And they sit down, and I start just hearing everything from Kathy about why this is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian's sitting there, arms crossed. He's mean mugging me, like, what are you going to do for me, lady? Whatever. You're new here.
You're new here.
He's gaslighting Kathy. It's always about you. You have all these complaints about me. You never work on yourself, right? This is what I'm dealing with, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in my office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if my idea was to help them, I got to recruit Brian into therapy. That's my literal specialty. We've got a narcissistic. We're going to get into the abuse. We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff that we know later. But
Mm-hmm.
even how Brian shows up, I can figure out a lot of things. There's not a lot going on there in terms of empathy, genuine emotion, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy is an abrasive pursuer. She's not making any friends in the therapy room because she has taken shots. And
Right.
he's the bad guy. He's been in the doghouse their entire relationship, and that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon.
Right.
He's defeated. She's defeated. I give them a very low chance,
Yep.
even with the best couples therapist in the world, and I'll get into why. Okay. So I'm going to continue to go through what happened between these couples
On the trip.
the rest of the way through.
Oh, got it.
And I want y'all to keep in mind two things. These are the two things I want you to keep in mind. Premarital counseling in 1996 with a really heads up therapist would have made a huge difference in this case. And we'll talk about what I mean by that. And then the second thing is the power of a psychopath in a system, in
Mm-hmm.
a gullible system.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about that too. Okay. So those are the things you're keeping in mind. From there, from the trip, okay? So where we left off before Nat and I gave our little diagnostic spiel on the couples, basically that trip happens, some crap happened on that trip. I think, what do you think happened on that trip? So here's the story we got. The story we got, they got drunk, they're hanging out. Kathy and Denise kiss at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and there's pictures, partially clothed pictures, okay? Which really is kind of a blackmail situation. Now there's these pictures involved. They all, honestly, like Kathy, I don't think even said the extent of what happened
Mm-hmm.
because she had suicidal ideation after this trip when they were driving back.
Mm-hmm.
Brian was driving like a crazy person because, of course, he was. And remember, she said, part of me just wanted him to drive off the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Something really bad happened.
Mm-hmm.
Really bad happened. And I still don't think we know the extent of it.
Yeah, I think it was a massive moral injury for Kathy.
I think you're right.
I think that's what happened.
I think you're right.
I don't know if it's
Tell them what a moral injury is.
so a moral injury is it shows up similar to how trauma shows up in our body. So it's essentially when we do something so out of character that it feels traumatic to our own self. We're not necessarily a victim, right? But we do something so heinous that goes so against who we are that it's hard to process that
I think you're really right about that, Nat.
and causes immense pain
Yes.
to our system.
So they come back and things are still really uncomfortable. Uncomfortable for Kathy within herself.
Mm-hmm.
Weird things are happening. Denise and Brian have gotten pretty close. Kathy is still feeling really weird about the relationship which she has with Brian. She's feeling bad, weirded out. Brian's acting different. And all of a sudden, he's not really acting different. Brian's Brianing. He's just Brianing all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
There is a tragedy that happens, and Mike disappears in 2000, right before Christmas. He disappears. And in the process of that disappearance and what happened afterwards, Kathy is processing her marriage with Denise. So Kathy and Denise are processing. Denise is surprisingly quiet about Mike's disappearance. So
Mm-hmm.
she's not processing all of her feelings with anybody, which is a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian and her are starting to spend some time together. And Kathy at one point caught him in a lie. She caught Brian in a lie. And he said he was going to go somewhere, and she came home and he was home.
Mm-hmm.
And she was really confused. The dogs were home, and this lie kind of fell apart. And so she gets curious and she decides, I'm going to go. I'm going to go through his office.
Mm-hmm.
She goes through his office and she finds a necklace that he bought that was clearly not for her because the name Meridian was on it.
Which is so sketch.
It's a nickname or a partying name that Denise had.
Yep.
All of a sudden, the pieces come together for Kathy, and she realizes this is more than a friendship. This is more than two people helping
Mm-hmm.
each other through a tragedy. Something's up, and she gets
Mm-hmm.
it. And she says, Kathy in the documentary says, she's taken everything from me. Why does she want to be my friend?
Hmm.
So, on that note, most of you already know, but we are talking about Mr. and Mrs. Murder.
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. How can this friend who I've confided in and told all my secrets to about my marriage, which has been bad for a long time, turn around and have something going on with my husband?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's pissed. It's giving Scandival.
Yes.
Vanderpump Rules, it's giving that. It is absolutely pathological and bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kathy and Brian separate in 2003. So remember, Mike went missing in the year 2000, which I'm going to come back to.
Yeah.
But Kathy and Brian finally separate. They're living separate. She's over it. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Well, Denise starts dating people. She's been dating people. No one knows that Denise and Brian are still kind of seeing each other or any of this is going on except Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
So Denise starts dating a man named Chuck Bunker.
Okay.
Denise and Chuck were on a trip in Atlanta, and Brian showed up and said, "You need to talk to me." Now, remember, Brian and Denise were dating in secret.
Right.
Kathy and Brian are separated. Okay.
Yeah.
Brian threatened to kill himself and kill them and threatened these blackmail photos.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck talks about how terrified Denise was.
Mm.
He thinks Denise was genuinely trying to leave Brian at that time. May have been making an effort to get out.
Right.
So Chuck decides he's going to send a letter to Kathy.
That's right.
Hmm? And Brian got some advance notice of this. So Chuck must have told Denise, who told Brian, because
Right.
Brian went to Kathy and said, "You're going to get a letter and I'm going to need you to not read it." And she's
Like,
like,
first of all, who's gonna not read the letter?
"Anyone would read
Dummy.
the letter." Also, Brian has a lot of nerve telling her to not read anything. You
He's
know what
so
I'm saying?
stupid.
He's so, oh, what he thinks he has control over is hysterical.
No, and it's hilarious.
Yes. So in the letter, Chuck says, "These people have been lying to you." He says for 2.5 years. Turns out it was longer. We'll get there.
Right.
They have been involved, Denise and Brian, in a bizarre affair with decadent sexual behavior and sordid acts.
Surprise, surprise.
Kathy's big pissed.
Oh
She's big mad, and you don't want a big mad Kathy. Okay, my money's on big mad Kathy
yeah, she's a lot.
over just about anybody.
Mhm.
Okay, and she files for divorce.
Bye bye.
Okay, a couple questions for you on the DV front. Number one, why is it an act of domestic violence if a partner threatens to kill themselves to try to keep the other partner in the relationship?
Because it keeps the other one stuck.
Yeah, it's coercive control.
Yeah, it's coercive control. It's entrapment. Like you're trapped.
Hmm.
If you make a decision to leave, then if they kill themselves, it feels like that's on you.
It's really sick and twisty. And to be frank, we'll get into this in a different episode. Parasuicidal behavior, put it on the list. We need to
Yeah.
cover parasuicidal versus suicidal. It's extraordinarily manipulative, and we see it a lot
Yeah.
in domestic violence. Threatening to kill them, domestic violence, right? I mean, all of
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
right? Perceived ownership. Well, so Kathy files for divorce from Brian. Then he starts spiritual manipulation and gaslighting. He's telling her, "You know what God thinks about divorce."
Bro, you've been cheating for years.
I'm like, "Brother, look at
Dummy.
yourself,"
I know,
right?
dummy.
What's the saying? Those in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, or don't throw rocks in glass houses, or I don't know what it is. But anyway, it's this.
Mm-hmm.
It's this in a nutshell. Okay. Well, Kathy moves forward with the divorce. She's like, "I'm out. Thanks
Mm-hmm.
for nothing. See you never."
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bye. She stays mad though. She stays mad. I don't know.
Super mad.
She needed a real good therapist during that time. I don't think she got that, but
She
that's okay
still needs
because
it.
we might not have some of the outcomes that we had if she did have a good therapist, because they would have been like, "Girl, move on with your
I
life.
know. She
It's
still
not
needs a good
worth it."
therapist.
Okay, well, Denise and Brian are still talking, seeing each other, etc. But Denise wants a godly man.
Mm.
I can't with her. This is when I start getting pissed at Denise, okay? I had empathy to a point. Now I'm like, "Okay,
I
dude,
didn't.
you had to stay with Chuck. Stay with Chuck. What are you doing?"
Yeah, I didn't have empathy for Denise at any point of
I
this.
had a tiny bit. I'll get into it later. I had just a tiny bit. Brian gets baptized. He's like, "I'm a new man. I'm
Mm-hmm.
no longer the sad sack of shit that you married or that you've known since high school."
Mm-hmm.
They get engaged. They get married 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
This is 5 years after Mike disappeared. So after Mike disappeared, 5 years they get married.
Right.
The pastor says at the ceremony, "There's literally nothing I don't know," which is very weird. And I've been to some weird weddings. I've heard weird things. Have you ever had a pastor say, "There's literally nothing I don't know about this couple"?
No, that's so weird.
Yeah. They have a fairy tale wedding. When middle schoolers are like, "You're doing too much, bro." Like that. It's giving that.
No, I know. Well, it's like this is your second marriage.
You're
Like,
wearing white, hilarious. You're like,
mhm.
some kind of carriage situation. I don't know. It's just a lot.
Well, and this, I don't know if we should keep this in, but whenever I see people who are older, like people who are in their 20s who get
Yeah.
married too young, and then they're like, this was a bad idea, and then they get
Yes.
remarried, you do you, like whatever. But when people are in their like 40s,
Yes.
get remarried and wear the whole princess gown and like
Um,
have the horse and buggy, I'm like, girl, you're in your 40s.
well, okay, let's say first marriage.
Fine.
At this for you. Let's say you had some kind of tragic first marriage,
Sure.
terribly abused, whatever. Okay. That's not these two knuckleheads.
No,
That's just not who they are. So they're putting on
exactly.
a freaking show.
And it's gross.
Okay, then also Blythe. Can we talk about Blythe for half a second? Denise's friend.
Mm-hmm.
Bless her freaking heart. Okay. She is allegedly a moron. She goes, it makes sense. I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh,
God.
Blythe, honey, honey. Oh, bless it. I just don't even know what to do with her. She's a lot too. I'll come back to Blythe because Blythe has a banger statement at the end as well.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Let's talk about what happened with Mike's disappearance.
Okay.
Okay. Christmas, the year 2000,
Hmm.
they had a Kathy and Brian had a Christmas event. This is before their divorce. We're going back years now, okay? They were supposed to go to Kathy's family for like the family Christmas. So
Hmm.
it's a relative's house like an hour away, something like that.
Hmm.
Brian, I love Kathy. She's like, "Well, I got up and he was gone. He's probably hunting." You know, and
Hmm.
when he wasn't back in time, she packed up her son and went to the Christmas gathering. She's
Like,
unbothered.
bye
Like she's
bye.
irritated, but she's like, this is Brian doing Brian things, right?
Right.
He shows up later. He's like sleeping on the couch, whatever. She's like,
Well, she's like bothered that he fell asleep.
she's irritated. I mean, he's showing up and being the father that he is, right?
Right.
So he doesn't care. He doesn't care to help get Stafford ready. He doesn't care to show up and spend the day with his wife. He does whatever he wants.
Hmm.
Then when he finally does grace them with his presence, he's sleeping on the couch. Like it's highly
Right.
annoying.
Right.
That part's annoying to her, but she's literally like, whatever. And you can see pictures of her and video, and she's just like, ugh. Like the disdain is
Right.
just like coming out of her pores, right? Mike never came home from hunting.
Hmm.
Brian says he wasn't hunting with Mike. Denise says, well, I
Yes,
thought
you
they were
were,
hunting
bro.
together. Uh-huh. Denise is pissed in theory because she tells Kathy this that they were supposed to have an anniversary overnight and she doesn't know where he is and he's not contacting her.
Hmm.
Okay. Mike's gone. He's gone. He never comes home. He didn't come home
Hmm.
that night, doesn't come home the next day. A week, I think it was like a week or a week and a half later, was actually Christmas Day. Kathy gave Brian a picture of him and Mike hunting for Christmas.
Hmm. Hmm.
Brian loses it. He's like, "Why would you give that to me? I wouldn't want that." Blah 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 blah.
Oh
Why would you think I
gosh.
would want that? Ugh. I think
Don't see much.
9 or 10 days after he disappeared, they found his hat.
Hmm.
And they're super confused because he was at Seminole Lake in Florida. This all happened in Tallahassee, Florida.
Hmm.
He disappeared in Seminole Lake. That's where they thought he was. And they're not finding anything, nothing, not any remains, nothing. And even if, like all good Florida true crime documentaries, there's an alligator first thing, right? And they
Right.
talk about how an alligator might eat the remains, whatever, but they have not found a thing
Right. And they've like searched the lake through and through.
through and through. And other people have drowned in this lake and
Hmm.
they have found remains every single time.
Hmm.
And nothing is coming up. And it's really mystifying, but also there's just really no sign. Mike's mom, Cheryl, who's a literal queen, we love her. I'll come back to
Hmm.
Cheryl. really wants them to open a criminal investigation because they're not finding remains. She got kind of ignored.
Yeah.
And she's hilarious. She says things like alligators don't eat in cold weather, like funny things like that. Like she's just a vibe. Love her. Mike had a life insurance policy. And what do we always say about life insurance, Nat, in all of our episodes?
It's like every time if there's life insurance involved, they got killed.
Follow the money.
Yep.
Okay. Now it is especially weird that Brian is the one that sold Mike an increased life insurance policy up to $1.75 million
Mm-hmm.
a bit before he died. Now, it is not uncommon for people to take out life insurance when they have children, and that's a normal thing. I mean, it's actually a pretty responsible thing to do for your family.
Right.
But when Brian went missing, the insurance company couldn't pay Denise the life insurance because he was missing, not formally dead. They didn't have any remains or proof that he died.
Mm-hmm.
So then Brian and his dad are like putting in work to try to get the company, the insurance company, who they also like were involved with,
Mm-hmm.
to pay out this money for Denise. So
Yes.
all of a sudden they find his waiters and his hunting license with his picture on it, Mike's hunting
Right.
license with his picture on it,
And his hunting license was not at all like deteriorated.
which is very weird.
Yeah, like there was no
Mm-mm. They
no
could still see his face.
yeah, there's nothing that was faded.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So it's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So they suddenly find that, and then they can get a death certificate and get the life insurance money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the point where Kathy caught him in a lie because one day he said he was going to take the dogs out and train them. She came home unexpectedly in the middle of the day, and the dogs were there, and he's there.
Right.
Oh, no, he wasn't there. The dogs were there, but he wasn't there.
Right.
She asked him about it later, and he got all weird. That's when she searched the office,
Mm-hmm.
found the receipt for the necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then eventually they separate. Then she gets the letter. Then she files for divorce. Then Mike and Denise get married. Or not Mike and Denise. Brian and Denise get married.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian moves into the house
Mm-hmm.
that Mike had bought, which is creepy. Kathy calls it creepy, and I would agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that's couples get a new house together for a lot less than this shit, right?
Right. Right.
So Kathy
They
remarried.
sleep in the same bed frame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you remembered that. They
Yeah, they sleep in the same bed.
the same bed.
That's so creepy.
So bad. It's
Oh
so
my
bad.
God.
I
Yes.
hope he haunts their asses forever. I
I do
really do. I don't
too.
even believe in that, but I hope he does.
Yep.
Okay. So Kathy ultimately remarried. Thank the good Lord, because she married, wasn't his name Rocky?
Oh, I don't
I
remember.
think his name was Rocky.
I
But
was more
anyway,
focused on like how unhinged she
he's
was.
very unhinged. She would be wearing the unhinged hat for sure.
Yep.
Right? No, she would be drinking wine out of the unhinged tumbler. That's what
Yeah.
she'd be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kathy's husband is like, this is nuts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's go talk to Mike's mom. So they talk to Mike's mom, and Cheryl's like, I've been trying to get people to pay attention. Cheryl, I have to tell you, this is so incredible. Cheryl put ads everywhere. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't take a crap without seeing an ad about how
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl's son, Mike, is missing.
Yep.
She put signs on every telephone pole from Brian's house to his office. So every day he had to drive by a missing sign for Mike every single day.
Mm-hmm.
She's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she did that. So good. So there's this wonderful reporter who's also a queen, Jennifer Portman, who works for the Tallahassee Democrat.
You're so good with the names. That's the one area I'm not always the best at.
I'm not actually great with names, but I wrote these ones down.
Good job.
So Jennifer Portman from the Tallahassee Democrat
Mm-hmm.
starts investigating, and she's like, she's a true crime girlie. She goes, you know what? Absolutely. Like, word,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get in there, Cheryl. I'm going to figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, in 2007, Josie Wisnowski, and this is somebody who I freaking loved immediately. This is an ATF agent
Okay.
who stumbles onto the scene because he put his child in Miss Cheryl's home daycare.
Gosh.
And Cheryl, Mike's mom, became like a grandma to his kid.
Oh.
Okay. And he goes, get me involved. Is there a gun involved? He goes
Mm-hmm.
sniffing around for a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cheryl says, well, guess what, Josie? Yes, there is, because there is a gun that has not been returned to me. Mike's gun is in Brian and Denise's possession and has not been returned to me.
Oh gosh.
Josie says, say less, right?
Right. Right.
Josie's in, man. I love this guy so much. He brought people, they called it the Men in Black. They are in suits. They're parked in parking lots. They're surveilling. They are large and in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And they intimidated the shit out of Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they really did. And they got really, really, really close to cracking the case, including wiring up Kathy for a conversation with Brian. Brian's so stressed, he's calling Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
He's so scared. He's like, Denise is useless. I'm gonna call Kathy. If
Right.
anybody's gonna help me, it might be Kathy.
Yep.
He thought wrong.
Right.
He thought wrong. So anyway, it got so hot in that kitchen, Nat, that Denise's attorney returned the gun to Josie to get him off the case because ATF can't be involved unless it's a firearm case.
Mm.
Josie literally cries when he gets pulled from the case and tells the reporter, stay on it.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy says, I wanted to kill him. I'm like, why not, dude? Everybody's killing everybody, right? So just go on over there. But Kathy's husband talks her off a ledge. And Kathy says, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to befriend Denise.
I know that was like such a boss move.
Oh my God. I was living for this. I was eating popcorn and I was like, oh, this is one of the best true crime documentaries I've ever seen.
I know it's good.
And Denise is stupid enough to let her do it.
I know. Well, and Denise starts trusting her.
Yeah, Kathy's like, hey, come sit by me, girl. We're going to be besties again. I've missed you. Where you been all
Yep.
my life?
No, I know it's ridiculous.
It's
Like
insane.
you were married to my ex-husband, also probably killed yours, but let's be
Let's
besties.
be besties again. Well, Denise is like, oh, yay. Because
Here's the
Brian
thing.
is like cheering her on, because
She
Brian
like I used to be blonde. I know you're blonde. She like unfortunately makes that like dumb blonde joke kind of true.
yeah, I know. 100%.
That's unfortunate.
No, I know. It's not great. I mean, Denise, you
Mhm.
might have genius IQ. I don't know. This is allegedly. Allegedly, come on. Like, this is bad, right? Okay. So, Brian, this is around 2012-ish when this goes down. Brian is mistreating Denise and treating Denise just like he treated Kathy.
Exactly.
Kathy is living for it. Can't you just picture her on the phone with her
Like
wine in her
eating popcorn. She's like,
oh,
yeah,
honey, I know.
I'm so sorry. While
I'm
she's
so
like
sorry. You don't deserve
laughing.
that. Oh, honey, I know what that's like, right? So Denise finally, they get into a real big fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Denise is finally like, get out of my house to Brian. Get out. He had gotten a little physical with her. They were fighting over whether or not to move into a new house. Denise didn't really want to do it. Denise had had it. Kathy's in her ear telling her to leave. Blythe isn't offering anything of substance, right? So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna kick him out. So Brian goes and lives with his parents. Church leaders tell Denise, I think you have grounds for divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy's again cheering her on like it's her job in life
Mm-hmm.
to convince Denise to file for divorce.
Right.
Because Kathy figured out if I'm friends with Denise and if they split up, we're going to find out what happened to Mike.
Right.
Right? Okay. So then Brian made probably the second worst choice of his life that we know of. He decides he's going to kidnap Denise at gunpoint. So
Mm-hmm.
this is terrifying. So Denise files for divorce. After that happens, one day she gets in her car and she starts driving and he pops up from the back.
Oh my gosh.
with a gun, puts the gun to her ribs, and starts telling her where to go.
Jeez.
Well, Denise, who is chaos incarnate, okay,
Right.
drives to a CVS parking lot and parks right in front of the front door,
Oh my gosh.
literally. Right? And this is kind of like in our one of our last episodes where I was like, I would have driven through the front door at the police station. She
Yes.
parked in the parking lot. He's screaming at her. She's crying. People are seeing this. I still don't totally understand why no one called police. I think that's a little bit weird. But you
Mm-hmm.
can see the car on the CCTV footage. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
actually see this. And it was smart. I'll give you this, Denise. You had a stroke of genius. I would argue your body went into whatever mode.
Yeah.
Went to the CVS and she kind of talks him down.
Mm-hmm.
Her survivor instincts kick in. She talks him down, takes him to his truck. As he's getting out of the car, he pulls out all the stuff from the back that was in the back with him. And it is plastic sheeting, tools, and bleach.
Oh my God.
He would have killed her if she had not gone to the CVS. He had all the things he would have needed. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch up to this point.
Oh, get ready, girl. We're getting to the good part now. Okay.
Okay.
Denise drives like she's driving to work
Mm-hmm.
because he knows what way, she should be going to go back to work. And she said, I'm not going to call the police. We're going to work it out, right? That whole thing. She goes to the police. She does an interview with the police. Brian gets arrested while Denise is still there giving her story,
Yep.
right? And Brian is kept in jail, denied bail, right? Because this is very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy goes, well, shit, I got to go talk to Brian's father because I've got to, Brian was paying child support. They're taking care of the son, whatever. So Kathy mentions to Denise, because she's still in Denise's ear,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm going to go see Marcus, Brian's father, who, of course, is like a deacon in the church or
Of
whatever, which
course.
I
Yeah.
won't, whatever.
Yeah.
And Denise says, can you pass along a message for me? Tell Marcus to tell Brian I'm not talking. Kathy goes, noted for record, right?
Right.
Okay. Brian's sister, we haven't talked about her, love her. She knew he was an asshole. She says it from the beginning. He's been an asshole my whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't necessarily think anything worse than that, but she
Mm-hmm.
knew that he was not a great human.
Mm-hmm.
She would visit him about once a week,
Mm-hmm.
and he would try to give her assignments. One of the assignments was, I want to have you pay someone $10,000 to say that they had an affair with Denise. So he's like, hey, sister, good to see ya. Can you please go find somebody who will say they had an affair with Denise to disparage her and affect her credibility?
Oh gosh.
Okay. Enter Wade fucking Wilson.
I know. So this is where I started to not watch, but try to just listen. So I did listen to some of that. I missed the CVS part, but I did hear this part.
Girl, I'm curling my hair. I have
Mm-hmm.
extensions it takes for freaking ever. Okay. I'm curling my hair. I'm watching the show. I'm running late as per usual. All of a sudden, Wade Wilson pops up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that. I almost just skipped the beginning of work. I mean, that's
Right.
how bad this was.
Right.
I had to know. So I went to work and had to wait all day to hear what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So Wade Wilson, in one of his jail stays, okay, this is before all of his nonsense. We have some great episodes
Mm-hmm.
on Wade Wilson that Nat did. You got to go check
Mm-hmm.
those out.
Mm-hmm.
They're some of our biggest episodes ever.
I know they're insane.
But Wade Wilson was in jail and becomes friends with Brian. My grandma used to say about friendships, water seeks its own level. That would appear to be true.
Okay.
So Brian connected him with someone, gave a phone number because he knew Wade was getting out on probation. You know it's bad when you are recruiting the likes of Wade Wilson to help you with anything.
Yeah, not good.
So Wade Wilson connects with somebody when he's out on probation who offers him $20,000 to kill Brian's wife. There's gate codes, pictures, all the things someone would need to be able to kill Denise. Wade Wilson. Wade Wilson says no.
You
That's
know
how
what?
sick you are, Brian. If you're hearing this, you are worse than Wade Wilson. Like, what in
Hmm.
the actual world? Okay. So we get to Brian's trial.
Hmm.
Denise shows up in all of her shattered victimhood, which she is a victim. Also, go with me here because she's also
Hmm.
not a great human. But she shows up and she basically pleads for Brian to get the maximum penalty.
Hmm.
She says, Judge, it's my life or his. If he gets out, he's going to kill me. Which, okay, that's true. And the Wade Wilson stuff was fixing to come out. Okay.
Hmm.
He pleads guilty and is sentenced to 20 years DOC.
Hmm.
2 months, though, before the sentencing hearing was when he realized the Wade Wilson issue was going to bring more charges.
Hmm.
So he talked to his sister and he said, I need to tell them what I, quote, know about Mike to negotiate with the state so that the Wade Wilson part couldn't be used against him.
Hmm.
So the deal that he struck is if I give information that leads to Mike's body or to the prosecution of someone involved, then Wade Wilson's testimony couldn't be used against him to get tacked on to his kidnapping charge. Because then it would have been conspiracy to commit murder, et cetera, et cetera. He would have been in prison the rest of his life,
Right.
probably. So Brian told investigators where Mike's body was.
Hmm.
And they go out there right to where he said it was a different lake. It was Carr Lake, not Seminole Lake.
Hmm.
And it was on like the banks of that lake. And it's actually a pretty popular hunting area. And it made a lot of his friends and family very sad because they go out there a lot and no one ever saw Mike. Kathy was encouraged by investigators to get Denise on recording talking about when she sent the message to Brian, I'm not talking.
Right.
So Kathy, being the savage that she is, waits until after Denise's mother's funeral that she attended.
Hmm.
So after Denise's mother's funeral, Kathy calls Denise and is kind of saying, Hey, I got served with the subpoena. She kind of pretended. And so they're asking about, what happened with Brian and Mike's disappearance. And
Oh gosh.
remember when you told me, I'm not talking? What did that mean? Was really asking about that.
Right.
And
Right.
they got enough in that conversation. It wasn't super clear cut, but it was enough to help that case. So on May 8th of 2018, on Ansley's birthday, which is sad,
Right.
on Ansley's birthday, 20 years after the murder and 5 months after Mike's remains were found, Denise is arrested.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Flash to Blythe. It
Okay.
makes no sense.
Oh
Blythe.
God.
Blythe. Bless. Blythe, who's like, it makes total sense that they got married and lived in Mike's house, but it makes no sense that Denise got arrested uh, as part of this whole thing.
This
Okay.
is one of those friends that just makes you feel really good about yourself no matter what bad decision you make.
Yeah, it's awful. They're always the ones who are like, I just can't believe this all happened. It's like, okay, girl,
Mm.
open your freaking eyeballs. Okay. So in Denise's trial, Brian and Kathy are the main witnesses. So now we come to the murder.
Okay.
Okay. And I have questions for you. So we find out in Brian's testimony that Denise and Brian started hooking up in 1997. They got married in like 96-ish, maybe even 97. So they've been hooking up for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
longer than anybody knew.
Wow.
During the course of that's why I say premarital counseling probably could have nipped this in the bud, if anything, because I have told couples, I don't know that it's a good idea for you to get married. I have done that.
I've told people to live like they're separated and see if they can
Yep.
handle it.
I think that a good premarital counselor might have been able to get in there and prevent a couple of things because the dynamics were clearly already off, right?
Right.
So Denise and Brian talked about ways they could be together, quote unquote options, because divorce was not an option in Denise's mind based on their upbringing. Yes, I can sleep with my best friend's husband for years and years and years. No, I
Mm-hmm.
can't divorce my husband.
Mm-hmm.
That was this twisted theology thing we had going on. They even discussed increasing the life insurance.
So weird.
So on the morning that Mike disappeared, he went hunting to a special hunting spot with Mike, Brian and Mike.
Right.
They go hunting. He said that he and Denise had talked about what if it was an accident and it's up to God what happens. Then it's not us, it's an accident. I don't believe
My
that's
gosh.
fine, whatever.
No, yeah.
So they're out on this boat, they're hunting, right? And Brian pushes Mike out of the boat.
Well, and the key part to this, I do remember watching this or listening to it. The key part of this is he had waders on, and because of where they were, his waders filled. And that was the goal, was that like
That
he
was the
would
goal.
drown.
And there were friends of Mike who said they always told him, dude, you can't go out in your waders. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
And he was not a strong swimmer, but he insisted on it,
Yeah.
right? Well, Mike falls in the water in his waders. He manages to get his waders and the jacket off. Again, this is all according to Brian, okay?
Right.
Not the most reliable narrator, but he's real emotional telling this story. Mike gets himself up onto a tree, like holds himself up kind of on this tree stump or limb or whatever. And he's yelling, and Brian said he panicked and circled around in the boat, got closer and closer, took the gun that was in the boat and shot Mike in the head.
Like that's like a pretty intense, that's an insane move.
Savage.
Yeah.
And pulled him out of the water
Mm-hmm.
and into the Suburban and then left him in that place down by the water.
Right. I mean,
That
he
was
like
like,
dug a deep grave.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. But put him kind of down by the water where there was
Yeah.
some dense vegetation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, couple of things that Mike said in the process of talking about this. I had to make a choice. It was not easy and not pretty. I had to make it happen. I had no choice. Those are some of the things that he said. He
Mm-hmm.
said Denise was in my head behind me, which is a weird thing to say, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think she may have actually been behind him, which we'll get into. Um, but anyway, basically, Brian is sobbing on the stand telling this story. People in the courtroom are crying. They're crying, not Denise. Brian couldn't be charged for the murder, even as he's admitting
Oh
it, because
yeah.
that was the deal he struck with prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
Denise could. Brian told them that 19 days after Mike went missing is when they filed the life insurance claim. And so the jury hears all this information and they give their verdict. Denise is guilty of conspiracy to commit first degree murder. First degree murder. So they actually charged her with, or convicted her on first degree murder,
Right.
an accessory after the fact, and she was sentenced to life in prison.
Play
Brian,
stupid games, win stupid prizes.
absolutely, FAFO. So Brian's sister cried in the film and said Ansley's father was murdered and she was raised by the people that did it.
Yeah, it's sick.
Uh-huh. And then Kathy tells this unhinged story about burying her terrier that died or something and how hard it is to bury something.
Yeah.
Could he have done it alone? And Brian was not a big muscular guy.
Mm-mm.
Like we're talking a dead weight, wet human
Mm-hmm.
pulling him out of a river on a cold morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Digging the grave, doing all of that, and doing it in time to then get to this Christmas thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, in 2020, an appeals court overturned Denise's murder conviction because the state didn't think that they had enough evidence. Okay. She still is guilty of conspiracy to commit an accessory after the fact. So Denise got stuck with her 30-year sentence. Brian had his 20-year sentence.
Okay.
Brian is scheduled for release in 2036. Denise is scheduled for release in 2046. No one has been formally convicted of the murder of Mike.
Oh, that sucks.
And Kathy's kind of closing statement is, I did it. Mike's going to tell me I did a good job. Like she
She
did.
helped.
And the truth is Kathy did. I mean,
Yeah.
without Kathy, to be honest, I'm not sure
They
Denise
would have dropped the
was convicted.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have dropped the case.
And also, I don't think Denise would have left Mike either. Or, sorry,
Right.
I don't think Denise would have left Brian
Right.
without Kathy talking in her ear.
Right.
Okay. So, to wrap this one up, okay, because this is one of the wildest cases we've ever done,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a quick and dirty summary of the key players. Okay. Literally,
Okay.
like, what do we like about them? What do we not like about them? What's wrong
Okay.
with them? Whatever.
Perfect.
Okay. All of this is allegedly. We don't know them. We haven't met them. These are our hot takes, if you will. And I don't think we're alone in most of these. Okay. Brian, let's do a jailhouse PCLR. Is he a psychopath? Yes.
Yes.
Do I have all
Narcissist.
the information? No. So I am not saying that diagnostically as his forensic evaluator. Okay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, though, honestly, the bizarre behavior, the intensity, all the things lines up with psychopathy and some level of narcissism.
Oh, he's full blown a narcissist.
He was very, very married to the idea of like lifelong friendships and
Mm-hmm.
high school sweethearts. And like this was a part of his identity that was actually really important to him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, and sorry, Tina, I'm going to curse because it's the only way to put it. Do you think he intentionally fucked Denise over?
Not initially. No, I don't. I think he was actually, my genuine thought is I think he really liked the allure of Denise. I think he liked what he thought he thought she was.
Mm-hmm.
I think Denise thought Brian was, like more mysterious and kind of one of those like bad boys, and she was bored with Mike. So I don't think he initially tried to screw her over, but I do think once things started to like look the way that they were looking, he was like, yeah, full send, you know?
Well, especially with the sentencing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
just insult to injury. I don't think he
Yeah.
planned to do that to her all along.
No.
I don't know that he ever would have divorced Kathy. But I think Denise was a real good mark.
I think Kathy would have been their next victim so they could be together and they wouldn't have had to get divorced.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because
Totally.
they wanted to be together. That's why they killed Mike.
And I think Kathy knew that somehow. I think part of her consistent engagement in this was definitely like vengeance and not being able to let it go. Part of
Mm-hmm.
it was fear.
Mm-hmm.
I really think she's one of those people who, when they're scared, they get mad.
Yep.
But I think there was some real fear there too.
Yep.
Kathy was really not fun for a psychopathic, abusive person to be married to. So
Right.
Brian could not fully control her. That alone makes me respect her strength.
Right.
I
Same.
respect Kathy as a survivor. Um, do you think Brian ever loved Kathy?
Um, well, I don't know if Brian has the capacity to love in that way, but I think maybe in high school he like thought he did.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe early on that feeling might have felt like he might have felt that way. Um, but I think maybe after did him and Denise start seeing each other before their trip all together?
No.
Okay, so I think that may have shifted everything for him.
Yes.
And having a kiddo.
Well, I don't think he wanted to be a parent.
No.
He was clearly checked out of the marriage. You know, we talk about how psychopaths don't feel. They understand emotion. They just don't feel it the same way, but
Right.
they can kind of think it. I
Yep.
think he liked the idea of the story of his life being what it was.
Yep.
And then he could do all of his sordid, nasty, gross stuff on the side.
Yep.
And he was, by the way, I didn't go into all the details, but he was hooking up with prostitutes. He had a lot of stuff happening. So he was doing psychopath things. He just
Yep.
liked the idea of his life sounding a certain way. And Kathy
Yep.
fit that for a time, and then Denise fit that for a time. And then when it came down to survival, he would shove Denise right over the cliff, right, to save himself. Kathy. Okay, let's talk about Kathy for a second. Obsessed. She was obsessed. She's unhinged. I really wish,
Very.
you know what? Let's try to find her and send her an unhinged Tumblr because I mean it with a level of admiration and also a level of, oh, she needs therapy. I really hope
Yes.
she's in therapy.
I hope she has a therapist, a good therapist.
Do you feel that though? A kind of a love of her, but also an understanding that, like, oh, there were some things really off in her too.
I'll rephrase what I think. I don't, it's not like a love for her. It's more of like I I get where she came from. I get the justice she wanted.
Hmm.
And I think her mental health was significantly impacted. And I do hope she found help.
I think she wanted to be good. She wanted to be a good Christian girl. She wanted
I
normal,
think she was
simple
big
things.
mad at what happened. I'd be pissed too.
Well, and this is Brian's psychopathy again. Kathy's a perfect mark. In some ways, she was sassier than he signed up for. Okay.
Right. He didn't know that.
He didn't know that, but she was a good Christian girl. She wanted to be good and have a normal family. That is not too much to ask, honestly.
Right.
Most people find some version of that, but not Kathy because she was married to a psychopath. Denise, give me your hot take on Denise. I know you've been waiting for an hour to give me this.
Denise, I think, has some components of borderline personality disorder.
You think so?
Yeah.
Tell them what it is, what you're seeing.
Well, and maybe I'm wrong, but for sure, disorganized attachment, which can present also like a little it can have the same components of borderline, similar components, I should say. So
Hmm.
borderline personality disorder is essentially it's a mental health diagnosis that stems from trauma
And lack of
and
identity.
lack of identity. And I think the reason I say this is because of the of her role in the murder of her husband. And then also, I think individuals who tend to be narcissistic, I'm not saying this always happens, but if oftentimes if two personality disorders are going to match up, it's going to be narcissism and borderline personality disorder.
Yes.
And so I think potentially some of those attributes came out in Denise later in life because you can't diagnose that when they're teenagers. So in high school,
Yeah.
that's something she could have.
And even early 20s, you can start to, but you're really looking for a
Hmm.
pattern. You really want to
Yep.
see a pattern.
Yep. So I think the affair, some of her, how she showed up in her marriage with Brian, the wedding, all of that just kind of screamed at least components of borderline.
Yeah, I see that. I see dependent personality disorder. I also really look at this and I see the victimization and reenactment of possibly earlier trauma too,
Hmm. Hmm.
because she's just was such a mark for Brian. She was a much easier target for
Yep.
Brian than Kathy.
Yep.
Kathy, the minute he really got rip roaring, she stayed out of faith conviction, a religious conviction. Denise did too, but Denise was looking for something with Brian that Kathy wasn't.
Yep.
Was way more here for the dysfunction than Kathy was, in my
Yep. Yep. Which is part of why I say what I said.
opinion. The chaos is she was there for the chaos.
Yep.
So, couple more minor players. Josie, the ATF agent, love him. He loved Miss Cheryl. He just really wanted to help her get some closure, which I loved. I also think he was a very good investigator and he played the psychopathic parts of Brian perfectly. He played it perfectly. He would have broke the case wide open. That's the truth. That's why that attorney was like, here's the gun.
Right,
And I
right.
do wonder if that's the gun that was used.
Yeah,
And maybe they just couldn't
maybe.
prove it because of how long later it was that they actually came to prosecution. But
Yeah,
why would they be so protective of that gun?
right.
So that's just
Yeah,
very interesting.
yeah.
Blythe, bless her heart. That's all we're going to say about Blythe. Do
Yeah.
better.
We've
Do
said
better,
enough.
baby.
Moving
Be a
on.
better friend. I do think it speaks to you and I talk a lot about just the friends that we have and how they support us. And we need friends to push back on our perspective.
Yes.
And she clearly did not do that. So
No.
bless your heart, Blythe. Cheryl's a queen. She's a queen with the signs and the ads, and that you did right by your son, Cheryl.
Yes, she
You're on
was
the
not
map.
giving up on that.
And I don't know if you saw this, but Josie was crying, holding Cheryl's hand during the sentencing.
Oh,
So sweet. The reporter was so invested. This is what happens when people rally around a cause.
right.
And the cause was justice for Mike. And what I want to say about Mike is this was a good human being who was kind, very normal,
Loved his family.
loved his family, loved not only his child, but loved Brian and Kathy's child.
Yeah.
One of the things that stuck with me was the way he looked at Stafford when Stafford was born was so sweet.
Hmm.
And I think about sweet friendships. Like, you know how I look at your baby. All the aunties, when I take Mac to work, man, all of the aunties are there and they love him so much. He loved kids, he loved his friends, and he loved the children, and he was trying to create healthy boundaries. And I think he's a really good human, and I'm thankful that we know some version of what happened to him.
Yeah.
I really am. And so for me, the heart of this is intervention with couples before things
Hmm.
get weird.
Hmm.
I think is really critical. I also have opinions about couple friends who get really enmeshed.
Hmm.
I don't love that. I mean, we have wonderful friends in our life. You and Preston have a ton of friends, but there's this like we do everything together. We always, we travel together. We get
Hmm.
so comfortable. We stay at each other's houses all the time. Like there's just something about that that can get weird if the
Yeah.
couples aren't healthy.
Yeah.
And most healthy couples like their alone time with their partner, at least some.
Right.
And I don't think that was true with these couples. I really don't.
Right.
I think it was a really enmeshed, immature, emotionally immature dynamic with the four of them.
They like never graduated high school. That's big. I mean, they did, but emotionally they didn't.
Emotionally, they didn't. You're right. They just never really moved on from that dynamic.
Mm-mm.
Question for you, and this is like final question. Do you think what Brian said about the murder is how it actually happened?
That's a good question. I kind of do because I mean, I don't know many people who are willing to just admit that they shot their supposedly best friend in the head.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, I do think he was telling the truth. I think he didn't have any reason at that point to lie because he wasn't going to go to prison for the murder.
Yeah, I mean, I think he spun it a little. I think that he killed him not on the lake. I think he shot him because he shot him in the back of the head. I think he shot him on the banks of the car
Oh
lake,
yeah, like
not Seminole.
maybe even before they got in the lake.
Yep,
Yeah.
just out of convenience. I just don't
Yeah.
think. I think he planned ahead when it came to his murders because I think he would have murdered Denise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think he left it to chance and pushed him and all that. I don't really believe that. And I think Brian put on quite a performance about that. So I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but my thought is out of sheer convenience, I think he killed him on the bank of the lake and it made things maybe a little easier for him. I also think Denise helped with the cleanup and the cover up for sure.
Yeah.
Probably even that day.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I don't believe he did all of that by himself. It was too hard on the timeline he was on.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys so much for joining us for this case. If you are a new follower, I really hope you enjoyed the case and the psychological insight and
Mm-hmm.
criminal justice system insight that we try to bring to our episodes. So please, please, please follow us and continue to join us along the way.
As always.
Bye, forensic friends. I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.